The awakening storm. The night sky above Metropolis shimmered with its usual glow, towering skyscrapers reflecting silver light, neon signs buzzing faintly, traffic flowing like rivers of color. Everything was normal until the earth shuddered. At first, it felt like a tremor, harmless, fleeting. People glanced around nervously, expecting it to pass. But then came the roar. It wasn't thunder. It wasn't machinery. It was alive. The ground split open in the heart of the city as if some monstrous hand had ripped it apart. From the smoking fissure emerged a giant, skin shimmering with emerald fire, veins pulsing with fury. His eyes burned like molten jade. This was no ordinary Hulk. This was the world breaker. Each of his steps sent ripples through the earth. Cars tipped over. Windows shattered. Alarms screamed in unison as if the city itself feared his presence. The bystanders fled in terror, but their panic cries only fed the chaos building in the Titan's chest. Then, above the storm of terror, a streak of crimson and blue tore through the clouds. He landed with a boom, the pavement cracking beneath his boots. The cape billowed like fire, his eyes glowing with solar flame. This was Superman, but not the calm guardian Metropolis always knew. His body radiated with the burning intensity of the supersun form, every cell blazing with solar power. He faced the monster not as a savior, but as a warrior answering a challenge. Banner. Superman's voice rang like steel across the ruined avenue, steady yet thunderous. You've gone too far. Stop this before you destroy everything. The Titan's chest expanded with a growl that deepened into words, though broken, guttural, each syllable shaking the air. Too late. And then he roared again, a sound that shattered what little glass remained standing. With a leap that cratered the ground, Hulk launched himself forward, green flames trailing his body like a comet. Superman's fists clenched, and in a flash of light, he met the monster mid-air. The collision was catastrophic. The shockwave rippled outward, flipping cars and snapping lampposts like twigs. Entire buildings shook as though a second earthquake had struck. The two titans tore into each other, Hulk's fists pounding like war drums, Superman's strikes blazing with solar fire. Each blow echoed like thunderclaps rolling through the night. The battle wasn't a fight. It was a natural disaster made flesh. From the skies, lightning split the darkness. From the ground, dust clouds swallowed entire blocks. The clash of legends had begun. High above, the stars hid behind storm clouds. Below, humans could do nothing but run, their voices drowned in chaos. Yet amidst the terror, some froze, unable to look away. For they knew, with trembling awe, that they were witnessing something beyond history, something mythic. As Hulk roared again and Superman's cape whipped like a banner of fire, the truth became undeniable. This was not simply a duel. This was the awakening storm. The earth shakes. The first collision had torn Metropolis open. Now, the battle raged like a storm given flesh. The Hulk, his skin glowing with emerald fury, charged again, each footstep splitting the asphalt into smoking craters. Superman shot forward, a streak of blinding light, his cape snapping like a burning flag. The two met in the middle of the ruined avenue, fists colliding with the sound of mountains collapsing. Shockwaves tore outward, tossing cars like toys, rattling the foundations of skyscrapers. The earth itself trembled, as if the planet feared what was being unleashed upon it. Superman struck with blinding speed, his fists igniting the air, each punch crackling with solar energy. He blurred in and out of sight, slamming into Hulk from every angle. The Titan staggered but only grew louder, stronger. Every strike seemed to feed the beast's fury. You can't stop me, Superman. Hulk bellowed, his voice carrying like thunder. His muscles swelled, veins glowing brighter, his aura thickening into a storm of green fire. The angrier I get, the stronger I become. Superman hovered above, eyes blazing with molten light. Then I'll just have to burn brighter. He soared skyward, disappearing into the storm clouds. For a moment the city went dark. Then the heavens themselves split open. A sunburst of fire descended, Superman blazing like a living star. His supersun form burned brighter than ever, his entire body wrapped in golden radiance. When he struck Hulk, the explosion ripped through the city like a nova. The shockwave flattened buildings across blocks, glass shattered miles away, and the ocean waves far beyond the harbor surged like tsunamis. Yet Hulk endured. His roar ripped through the firestorm, his fists hammering into Superman with unyielding defiance. Each impact was louder than cannon fire, each strike shaking the planet's crust. The city crumbled beneath them. Skyscrapers fell like dominoes, their glowing skeletons vanishing into clouds of smoke and dust. Roads twisted, bridges cracked, and the night sky burned with lightning as if nature itself joined the war. But the fight was no longer confined to Metropolis. Their blows echoed beyond the city limits, shockwaves felt in distant towns. Satellites in orbit flickered as tremors of energy rattled the atmosphere. This was no longer a duel between two champions. This was a war between gods. Superman's punches glowed like miniature suns. Hulk's fists thundered like meteors. When their arms clashed, the very air screamed, rippling into sonic booms that flattened everything nearby. Finally, Superman staggered back, chest heaving, his cape singed and torn. Hulk, breathing like a beast of war, slammed his fists into the earth. The ground convulsed, entire blocks rising into the air before collapsing into rubble. "You can't win," Superman muttered, wiping blood from his lip. His eyes fled again, but his voice held a strange respect. "Neither can you," Hulk snarled, his chest heaving with primal fire. For a heartbeat, silence fell. The city was unrecognizable, a wasteland of ruins and fire. Yet both warriors stood, unbroken, unyielding, neither willing to give in. The earth shook not just with their battle, but with the realization this was not about victory. This was about survival. And the world trembled, waiting to see which legend would endure the storm. Respect among legends, 700 words. The ground trembled long after the last thunderous strike had landed. Dust hung heavy in the shattered air, glowing faintly from the embers of destroyed towers. The battlefield was silent, eerily so, as if even the world itself dared not disturb what had just taken place. Hulk stood in the center of the ruin, chest heaving, steam rising from his skin where golden heat had burned against gamma flesh. His fists were still clenched, but they trembled not from fear. Hulk knew no fear, but from the sheer exhaustion of unleashing power at the limits of his being. The pavement beneath his feet was fractured into a spiderweb of cracks, like the earth itself had struggled to hold him. Above, Superman descended slowly, cape torn and scorched at the edges, his armor-like suit dusted with ash and bruises that even he could not hide. His glow had dimmed from its earlier brilliance, no longer a blazing sun but a steady ember, a symbol of resilience rather than sheer force. He landed with quiet grace before the Hulk, and for the first time in their titanic clash, there was no rush to strike, no fury driving them forward, only the weight of what had been fought, and the silence that followed it. For long moments, they simply stared at one another. Superman's piercing blue eyes met Hulk's wild green blaze. Both men had given everything: strength, endurance, spirit. The city bore the scars of their battle, but neither could deny the truth burning in their hearts. This was not the meeting of enemies. This was the meeting of equals. Hulk's shoulders rose and fell like rolling thunder. His breaths came out ragged, growling. Yet as he looked at Superman, still standing, still unbroken, something shifted in his expression. The rage that had fueled him seemed to waver, replaced with something rarer, something purer: respect. "Strong," Hulk rumbled, his voice low, guttural, yet carrying across the broken streets. "You strong." Superman, battered though he was, allowed the faintest of smiles to crease his lips. He nodded once, firm, acknowledging the words. "And you are unstoppable. Stronger than even I imagined." The silence stretched again, but now it was not empty. It was full of understanding, of the bond forged not through friendship, but through trial by fire. Both warriors had tested the other. Both had found no weakness, only strength. Around them, civilians and rescuers began to creep back into the open, wide-eyed and trembling. They had seen gods clash. They had seen their city nearly broken apart by the fury of two legends. And now, they watched those same legends stand still, side by side, without fists raised. Hulk's gaze wandered to the crowd, fear and awe painted across countless faces. His jaw clenched, and for once, he lowered his fists. The gamma glow around him dimmed, simmering back into his core. His chest still rose like a mountain, but the storm was passing. Superman followed his eyes, then turned back to Hulk. "They don't need us fighting," he said softly. "Not anymore." Hulk grunted, a deep sound that could have meant many things, but it was not anger. Perhaps agreement. Perhaps surrender. perhaps simply acknowledgement. Then, with a slow, deliberate movement, Hulk extended his massive hand. It was not easy for him, the beast who smashed, who raged, who destroyed. But in this moment, it was his way of speaking words that didn't come easily. Superman looked down at the hand, then up at Hulk's face. He saw the raw honesty there, the unspoken admission that no battle needed to continue forever. He clasped the massive hand firmly, their grip shaking the broken ground beneath them once more. But this time, it was not in violence. It was in unity. The crowd erupted into cheers, disbelief mixing with relief. They had seen Titans clash, and now they witnessed something rarer still, Titans finding respect in one another. Superman turned, still gripping Hulk's hand, and raised his other arm toward the sky. The message was clear. This was not a story of destruction. This was a story of resilience, of endurance, and of the strength that came not just from power, but from understanding. Hulk gave a small nod, a grunt of approval, and for the first time in what felt like ages, the corners of his lips twitched upward in something resembling a smile. In the ruins of a city, amid the echoes of their battle, Superman and Hulk stood, not as enemies, not even as rivals, but as legends who had come to respect one another. And in that respect, there was a promise, that when the next storm came, perhaps they would stand not against each other, but side by side. The clash of titans had ended. What remained was something greater, respect among legends.